Hey everyone, welcome to the midweek message. My name is Kyle and I'm one of the elders here at Ecclesia. And I'm excited to get out of my house to come talk to you guys today. I know it's an anxious time right now with the virus and the economy. And I don't know about you, but I often feel like I only have enough emotional bandwidth to focus only on the needs that are in my direct line of sight. Are my kids learning their schoolwork? Are we getting the chores done? What do we do if we run out of toilet paper? But I want to encourage you with something that God has been teaching me right now. It's to not just focus on myself and my needs, but to care for others around me. That's easier said than done, right? But a lot of people are hurting right now. And while that's tragic, I think this is a huge opportunity for the church to follow the second greatest commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself. And this is an opportunity to be a loving light in this dark time, to show the heart of the gospel in a season that is full of fear and extreme division. I mean, just to imagine, what would our city look like if all the believers in our city came and loved our neighbors as ourselves, focusing on their needs more than our own needs? And I'm reminded of the Jewish people in their time of exile in Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar came and he destroyed Jerusalem. He destroyed the temple. He took the Jews out of Jerusalem and put them into Babylon. And here they are in a foreign city. They can't worship. The temple is destroyed. They can't sacrifice to God. And they're completely isolated in a foreign and pagan society. They're beaten down. And to the Jewish people, it feels like the end of the world. And how does God command for his people to live as they are exiled in a foreign land? Does he tell them to just hide from the pagan Babylonians, to focus only on themselves, to maybe rise up and rebel against them? No. Jeremiah 29, 4-7 tells us, "Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon, build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce, take wives and have sons and daughters, take wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters, multiply there and do not decrease. But seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For in its welfare you will find your welfare." It's just a remarkable passage because honestly, I don't know about you, when I read this, it kind of catches me off guard. I didn't expect God to say something quite like that. Often it's easy for us Christians to think that we are at war against the society that we are placed in. And we think that society is something that we either need to conquer or we need to escape. But Ephesians 6 says that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but instead we are at battle, we are at war against Satan and his forces. He is the enemy. But our neighbors are not the enemies. In fact, they're made in the image of God, valuable and loved by Jesus. That's why Jesus has no problem saying that the command to love our neighbors as ourselves is a command to love, pray for, and bless our enemies. Not just the people we like, but our enemies, the people who hate us, the people who wish we never existed, and they represent everything that we oppose. Jesus says to love them. Love them like Christ loved us, in that while we were still sinners, enemies of God, Christ died for us. Seek the welfare of the city. The Hebrew word for welfare here is the word shalom, which can be translated as prosperity, peace, or wholeness. Seek the wholeness of the city, he's saying. The Christian Standard Bible translates the end of verse 7 as seeking to make the city thrive. This is Babylon that God is talking about here, a hostile force against the Jewish people that desecrated the temple. And God commands for his people to help this city thrive. Instead of battling society, God tells the Jewish people to create society. Build houses, and don't just build them, live in them. Plant gardens and reap the harvest. Establish yourselves, marry, have families, grow and multiply. Take part in what it means to be human on this earth. And I love how simple it is. It's like a return to the basics. Work with your hands, till the earth, fall in love, and teach your children to do the same. And you may have noticed some language that sounds really familiar. God says, bear sons and daughters, multiply. You see, this command is a reflection of God's command from that he gave to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden when he first created them and placed them in the garden. Genesis 1:27 through 29. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And right after that, God finishes creation and he calls it very good, and he rests. There was shalom. And you can see the similarities between the two commands, even down to the gardening imagery. In Jeremiah, God is referring back to this Genesis command as he encourages the Jews who are in exile. Remember what the Garden of Eden was supposed to be. Bring that into this city. Bring the peace of the garden to your city. Build a society in exile. Bring the image of God and the glory of God into this pagan, this broken city. Bring the light and love of God. Help your neighbors thrive. And when you do that, you will find that you will thrive. It's not the end of the world. It's a new beginning. And this is a command to cultivate, to create life in the darkness, to reflect our Creator God. And it's a picture of the heavenly city that we read about in Revelation 21 that is to come, where we will live on a new earth, where there will be no more sickness, no more death, no more suffering, no more sin. And God describes this paradise as a city, as the New Jerusalem. And where we are right now in this present day, we are to create a picture, a small taste of that heavenly city right now. And it all starts with compassion, right? When Jesus saw the masses were coming to him, it says he felt compassion for them and he healed them and met their needs. And when the Good Samaritan saw the man dying on the road, it says that he felt compassion for the man, and that's what moved him, motivated him to care for the injured Jewish man, even though the Jewish people hated the Samaritans. It was compassion that moved him into loving action. Without compassion for others, yes, even compassion for those who hate us, who oppose us, we will not be able to properly love them. So what are some ways we can seek the welfare of our city, Lane County, Oregon, America during this time of isolation? And there are so many ways, and this is definitely not a comprehensive list, but one of the best ways right now is by being generous with our money. It's easy. It's a socially distanced activity. And if you want, you can help out a family or a neighbor who is in need. Or you can give to an organization, and if you're looking for a good one, you can call the Ecclesia office, and they'd be more than happy to help you point you in the right direction. And you can also support local businesses who have been hurt by the economic downturn. But we can also do more than just help with money. Maybe you've been hit by the economic downturn, and so you don't have as much disposable income, but you can still find ways to seek the welfare of our city. You can find ways to serve. Maybe you pick up groceries for an elderly or high-risk neighbor. You could donate blood to our friends over at Bloodworks Northwest, or through our Families Feeding Families outreach. You can deliver meals to a family in need. Or it could be something really simple. Deliver flowers from your garden, handwrite a note and send it in the mail, or call or FaceTime someone who has been stuck in isolation all alone. That's just a small portion of the things you can do to love your neighbors. Be creative, get your whole family involved. And let's use this time of crisis as an opportunity to shine the light of the gospel and make our city thrive, make it whole. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you tune in to the 10 a.m. live stream on Sunday.